Testing, test. Okay. You ready? Put this out here. I can see it. If you ever go across the sea to our land, then maybe at the closing of your day, you will sit and watch the moon rise over Claddagh and see the sun go down on Galway Bay, just to hear again the ripple of the trout stream, the women in the meadow making hay, or to sit beside a turf fire in the cabin and watch the barefoot gossoons at their play. For the breeze is blowing o'er the sea from Ireland, are perfumed by the heather as they blow. And the women in the uplands digging praties speak a language that the strangers do not know. For the strangers came and tried to teach us their way. They scorned us just for being what we are. But they might as well go chasing after moonbeams, or light a penny candle from a star. And if there is going to be a life hereafter, and somehow I'm sure there's going to be, I will ask my God to let me make my heaven in that dear land across the Irish Sea. The Irish Sea. Bridgetown in the county down on a morning in July. Down a boring green came a sweet Colleen, and she smiled as she passed me by. Oh, she looked so sweet from her two bare feet to the sheen of her nut-brown hair. Such a coaxing elf, I had to shake myself to make sure I was really there. From Bantry Bay up to Derry Quay, and from Galway to Dublin town, no maid I've seen like the brown Colleen that I met in the county down. As she onward sped, sure I scratched my head and I gazed with a feeling rare. There I said, says I, to a passer-by, who's the maid with the nut-brown hair? Oh, he smiled at me, and with pride says he, she's the gem of Ireland's crown. Young Rosie McCann from the banks of the Bann, she's the star of the county down. From Bantry Bay up to Derry Quay, and from Galway to Dublin town, no maid I've seen like the brown Colleen that I met in the county down. the harvest fair she'll be surely there, so I'll dress in me Sunday clothes, with me shoes shine bright and me hat cocked right, for a smile from the nut brown rose. No pipe I'll smoke and no horse I'll yoke, though my plow turn a rust-colored brown, till a smiling bride by my own fireside is the star of the county town. From Bantry Bay up to Derry Quay, and from Galway to Dublin town, no maid I've seen like the brown Colleen that I met in the county town. All right, before we move to the next one, let me tell you a little story. First, I'm Kevin Moulton. Thank you for coming out this afternoon. I give you the very talented music director here at St. Teresa, the choir director, composer, Mr. Matthew Still. And then behind me, of course, I'm very proud to be a member of the fine choir here at St. Teresa of Avila. Okay, now this next song, you may have heard of this next song. And I was doing it once at a concert. My father was there. Now, my father was a career U.S. Marine. He was a tough SO something or other. Anyway, so after the concert, I did this next song, and my father came up and said, "I don't want you to do that song ever again." I said, "Dad, it's kind of my song." He says, "Well, a Marine can't be seen to cry in public." Danny boy. Now I'm crying. So I've got a story on this one as well. You know, people sometimes ask me, how do you become an Irish tenor? And it's kind of a genetic thing, I think. But really, I know exactly what had happened for me. When I was very young, in my 20s, like 5 years ago, my cousin Kathleen asked me to sing at her wedding. I have a huge Irish Catholic family, and I sing at a lot of weddings. And so this was not an unusual request. I sat down with her and Jack, her betrothed, and we worked out the wedding. We're Catholics, Ave Maria, Panis Angelicus, Agnus Dei. We worked it all out, everything ready. 2 days later, my phone rings. It's my Uncle Ed, Kathleen's father. He says, what are you doing for my daughter's wedding? I tell him. He says, you're not doing that stuff. He says, my daughter Kathleen is getting I'll Take You Home Again, Kathleen. I didn't know the song. But my Uncle Ed was not a man who made suggestions. When he said something, you did it. So I went and found the song and sang it that day at that wedding, and I loved singing it, and my family loved hearing it, and that's what opened the door to all the songs we're going to sing today. I mean, I started researching them, and that's what turned me into an Irish tenor. So, I'll Take You Home Again, Kathleen. I'll take you home again, Kathleen, across the ocean wild and wide, to where your heart has ever been, since first you were my bonny bride. The rose is all I've left your cheek. I've watched them fade away, and your voice is sad whene'er you speak, and tears bedim your loving eye. Oh, I will take you back, Kathleen, to where your heart will feel no pain, and when the fields are fresh and green, I'll take you to your home again. I know you love me, Kathleen dear. Your heart was ever fond and true. I always feel when you are near that life holds nothing dear but you. The smiles that once you gave to me, I scarcely ever see them now. Though many, many times I see a darkening shadow on your brow, oh, I will take you back, Kathleen, to where your heart will feel no pain, and when the fields are fresh and green, I'll take you home again, Kathleen. I saw you singing along over here. Good to see, good to see. All right, I'm going to tell a little story before this one. Okay, I'm always telling little stories, aren't I? So, who invented the phonograph? Edison, right? You think Edison. No, in fact, that's not. I'm a big Edison fan. We're from New Jersey, right? We like Edison. We go down to school trips to Menlo Park. He did invent a thing called the phonograph, and it was this disc thing that you recorded on. He thought it was going to be for business people, kind of like a dictaphone. But then there was this other guy who you probably haven't heard of. He sort of has been lost to time. And his name was Emil Berliner. And he was a German immigrant to America. And he had a different idea. He wanted to create a flat disc that he could record on like a record. And then he figured out a way that he could make a master copy so he could make copies of that record. And he called it a gramophone. We should be calling the thing we use today, well, if you're still using it today, I have one, we should be calling it a gramophone. But then he did one other thing. Berliner said, I need to find things people want to hear. So first he went and found John Philip Sousa. Who doesn't want to hear a march, right? Get you up in the morning. And then he liked tenors. I like this guy already. So he went and found Enrico Caruso so he could make recordings for all the Italian immigrants in the United States. And then he went and found a young Irish tenor by the name of John McCormick. And he took him down to Camden, New Jersey, to his recording studio, and he recorded this next song in 1911, and it's called Makushla. Now, I was doing this song once in Washington, D.C., and just before I was going to sing it, a voice rang out from toward the back of the room and said, "What's a Makushla?" That voice was my mother. So I'll tell you what I told her. Makushla is sort of an Irish pet name or nickname. It means essentially sweetheart or darling. Now, this song may have launched the recording industry because John McCormick recorded it and it sold 4 million copies. Makushla, your sweet voice is calling me softly again and again. Makushla, I hear its dear pleading, my blue-eyed Makushla, I hear it in pain. Makushla, your white arms are reaching. I feel their enfolding, caressing me still. Fling them out from the darkness. I lost love, Makushla. Let them find me and bind me again if they will. Makushla, your red lips are saying that death is a dream and love is forever. Then awaken, Makushla, awake from your dreaming. My blue-eyed Makushla, awaken to stand. If you feel compelled to dance on this one, get up and dance. Oh, the days of the carry dancing, oh, the ring of the piper's tune, oh, for one of those hours of gladness gone, alas, like our youth too soon. When the boys began to gather in the glen of a summer's night, and the carry piper's tuning made us long with wild delight. Oh, to think of it, oh, to dream of it, fills my heart with tears. Oh, the days of the carry dancing, oh, the ring of the piper's tune, oh, for one of those hours of gladness gone, alas, like our youth too soon. Was there ever a sweeter colleen in the dance than Eiley Moore, or a prouder lad than Thady as he boldly took the floor? Lads and lassies, to your places, up the middle and down again. Ah, the merry-hearted laughter ringing through the happy glen. Oh, to think of it, oh, to dream of it, fills my heart with tears. Oh, the days of the carry dancing, oh, the ring of the piper's tune, oh, for one of those hours of gladness gone, alas, like our youth too soon. Time goes by, and the happy years are dead, and one by one, the merry hearts are fled. Silent now is the wild and lonely glen, where the bright glad laugh will echo ne'er again. Only dreaming of days gone by, in my heart I hear loving voices of old companions stealing out of the past once more, and the sound of the dear old music, soft and sweet as in days of yore. When the boys began to gather in the glen of a summer's night, and the carry piper's tuning made us long with wild delight. Oh, to think of it, oh, to dream of it, fills my heart with tears. Oh, the days of the carry dancing, oh, the ring of the piper's tune, oh, for one of those hours of gladness gone, alas, like our youth too soon. All right, we got a little story for this one. You ever hear of an Irish tenor named Chauncey Alcott? See, most of you don't know him. It's too bad. He was the Irish tenor in the late 19th and early 20th century, from about 1890 till about 1920. He was from Buffalo. People tell me, how can you be an Irish tenor? You're from New Jersey. This guy was from Buffalo. And he was discovered. He moved down to New York City. He was discovered, put on Broadway. He spent the next 25, 30 years writing these very sentimental musicals, writing, producing, starring in, about Irish immigrants, because there were so many Irish immigrants flooding into the country at that time. So then he died in 1932, and his wife wrote a book about him. I think we all fear that our wife will write a book about us, don't we? And she told a great story. She said in 1898, Chauncey took her back to Ireland to visit County Cork, where his mother was raised. And while she was there, a little boy came up to her and gave her a flower. And she said, "What is this flower?" He said, "It's a wild Irish rose." So she took it home and she put it in her scrapbook. Do people do scrapbooks anymore? Good, okay, well, she put it in there. And then a year later, Chauncey's trying to write a song for this new musical he's working on. He's got no ideas. So Rita, his wife, goes and gets the scrapbook and gives it to him. And they're going through the pages. And what do they happen upon? But the Wild Irish Rose. Certainly the biggest hit of Chauncey's career. And if you look on the back of your program, you'll see the words to the chorus. Why don't we get you singing a little bit on this one? My Wild Irish Rose. If you listen, I'll sing you a sweet little song about a flower that's now drooped and dead. It is dearer to me, yes, than all of its mates, though each held aloft its proud head. It was given to me by a girl that I know. Since we met, faith, I've had no repose. She is dearer by far than the world's brightest star, and I call her my wild Irish rose. My wild Irish rose, the sweetest flower that grows. You may search everywhere, but none can compare with my wild Irish rose. My wild Irish rose, the dearest flower that grows. And someday for my sake, she may let me take the bloom from my wild Irish rose. They may sing of their roses, which by other names would smell just as sweetly, they say. But I know that my rose would never consent to have that sweet name taken away. Her glances are shy whene'er I walk by the bower where my true love grows. And the one wish has been that someday I shall win the bloom from my wild Irish rose. My wild Irish rose, the sweetest flower that grows. You may search everywhere, but none can compare with my wild Irish rose. My wild Irish rose, the dearest flower that grows. And someday for my sake, she may let me take the bloom from my wild Irish rose. You didn't really need the words, did you? I was rehearsing the other night. My wife said, "What does it mean to take the bloom from my wild Irish?" I'm like, let's just leave it there. All right, so I mentioned my dear mother. Unfortunately, I lost my mother last spring, 94 years old, and sang at the funeral again, the Ave Maria, all of that stuff for Mom. And then after, at the repast, I sang this song because I felt I had to sing this song. And it's a Chauncey Alcott song. Again, you don't really know who Chauncey is, but all these great songs that people think are Irish are actually from New York, from Broadway. And this is one, but you probably know it from a movie in, I think, 1944, when Bing Crosby, playing Father O'Malley, sang it to Barry Fitzgerald in Going My Way. Over in Killarney, many years ago, me mother sang a song to me in tones so sweet and low. Just a simple little ditty in her good old Irish way. And I'd give the world if she could sing that song to me this day. Tora lora lora, tora lora lora, tora lora lora. Hush, now don't you cry. Tora lora lora, tora lora lora, tora lora lora. That's an Irish lullaby. Oft in dreams I wander to that cot again. I feel her arms a-hugging me as when she held me then. And I hear her voice a-humming to me as in days of yore, when she used to rock me fast asleep outside the cabin door. Tora lora lora, tora lora lora, tora lora lora. Hush, now don't you cry. Tora lora let's talk about another Irish tenor, poet, writer. So, back in the sort of 19th century, 18th century, people were worried that all the Irish songs that all these Irish musicians went around the country playing would be lost to time. They were passed down through the generations, one musician to another, but this one guy, Edward Bunting, he wanted to go and write them all down, to capture them. And he followed these harpists around the country. He must have driven the harpists nuts following them around and wrote down, what they were playing. And then he had a hard time writing down the words because he didn't speak Irish. He was from England. So he basically got primarily the notes and he put them in a book. And then this guy, Thomas More, came along, and Thomas More was one of the first Catholics to be allowed to go to Trinity College, because back then they didn't allow, Catholics to get an education. That was finally starting to change. He became a lawyer. He got to know some very important people, but his hobby was writing poems. And he got a hold of this music, and he put his poems onto the music, and he did this his whole life. He did 7 volumes of what he called the Irish Melodies. Now, some people are big fans. John McCormack was a big fan of his, sang a lot of his songs. You probably know some of his songs, like Believe Me If All Those Endearing Young Charms, or The Minstrel Boy. You always hear the pipers playing that, right? And then, Thomas More would go and sing these songs. He was a fine singer as well. Some people didn't like him because he took, these patriotic Irish songs and he put these romantic poems on top of them. But, I'm a tenor, so I'm a hopeless romantic, so I'm happy to sing a romantic song. And this is one of my favorites. It's called Love Thee Dearest. Love thee, dearest, love thee, yes, by yonder star I swear, we through clouds above thee shine so sadly fair, though too dimmed with tears like him, my truth will shine, and love thee, dearest, love thee, yes, till death I'm thine. Star is not more true. When my vows deceive thee, he will wander too. A cloud of night may veil his light, and death shall darken mine. But leave thee, dearest, leave thee, no, till death I'm Pretty song, isn't it? All right, so this one comes from a guy named Herbert Hughes. And Herbert, like Edward Bunting about 100 years before, went following around those Celtic harp players and writing down the lyrics of the music of their songs. And then he didn't write poems himself. He went and found poets like W.B. Yeats, people like that, and took their poems and put them on top of the music and wrote these volumes, several volumes of Irish country songs. Now, the thing with these Irish country songs is Irish musicians, they don't like you to make arrangements. They don't like you to, figure out all the different parts. They just want a melody, and then they get their tin whistles and their fiddles and their bodhráns and all of that, and they jam. You ever go into an Irish pub, see people just jamming out? But so Herbert Hughes said, well, these arrangements, they're just suggestions. And this is such a suggestion. She moved through the fair. And my father won't slight you for your lack of kind. And she stepped away from me, and this she did say, it will not be long, love, till our wedding day. She stepped away from me, and she went through the fair, and fondly I watched her move here or move there, and then she went homeward with one star awake, as the swan in the evening moves over the lake. Last night she came to me. She came softly, so softly she came that her feet made no din, and she laid her hand on me, and this she did say, it will not be long, love, till our wedding day. Is there anyone here who hasn't seen The Quiet Man? I mean, come on, the movie about Ireland. Well, when John Ford, the great director John Ford, was touring around Ireland looking for locations for The Quiet Man, he kept hearing this song on the radio, just playing over and over again, and he loved it. It was just beautiful. And so he worked it into the movie. If you watch the movie, you hear the melody all the time. And then he forgot to put the credits in for the song, but you hear it throughout the movie. And in fact, you remember part of the movie is that Maureen O'Hara's character, she can't get her stuff from her brother, so she doesn't have furniture in her house and all that. So she gets the furniture, and what's the first thing she does? She sits down at the pianoforte, and she starts singing this song, The Isle of Innisfree. I've met some folk who say that I'm a dreamer, and there's no doubt there's truth in what they say. But sure, a body's bound to be a dreamer when all the things he loves are far away. And precious things are dreams unto an exile. They take him o'er the land across the sea. Especially when it happens he's an exile from that dear lovely Isle of Innisfree. And when the moonlight peeps across the rooftop of this great city, wondrous though it be, I scarcely hear the wonder or the laughter. I'm once again back home in Innisfree. I wander all green hills and dreamy valleys, and find a peace no other land could know. I hear the birds sing music fit for angels, and watch the rivers laughing as they flow. And then into a humble shack I wander, my dear old home, and tenderly behold the folks I love around the turf are gathered. On bended knee the rosary is told. But dreams don't last, though dreams are not forgotten, and soon I'm back to stern reality. For though they pay the footways here with gold dust, I still would choose the Isle of Innisfree. I still would choose the Isle of Innisfree. So one of my favorite writers of Irish songs is a guy named James Malloy, or J.L. Malloy. Lived primarily in the 19th century, grew up in Ireland, went off to Dublin to go to college, then went off to London, became a lawyer, got involved in the government, and he never went back to Ireland. But in his free time, he wrote these beautiful songs about his youth in Ireland and looking back at Ireland as an old man. Like Love's Old Sweet Song you've probably heard of, and the Kerry Dance we did earlier. And this one, certainly my favorite of his songs, about the beautiful Bantry Bay. As I'm sitting all alone in the gloaming, it might have been but yesterday that we watched the fisher sails homing to the little herring fleet at anchor lay, and the fisher girls with baskets swinging came running down the old stone way. Every lassie to her sailor lad was singing a welcome back to Bantry Bay. Then we heard the piper's sweet note tuning, and all the lassies turned to hear, as they mingled with the soft voice groaning, till the music floated down the wooden pier. Save you kindly, Collins all, said the piper, hands across and trip it while I play. And the tender sound of song and merry dancing stole softly over Bantry Bay. As I'm sitting all alone in the gloaming, the shadows of the past draw near, and I see those loving faces round me that used to glad the old brown pier. Some are gone upon their last love toaming, some are left, but they are old and gray, and we're waiting for the tide in the gloaming to sail upon the great highway to the land of rest unending. Oh, peacefully from Bantry Bay. Okay, we're back to John McCormack. So when he was a young tenor, he was living in London. In his 20s, he was singing at Covent Garden, the Royal Opera House. And, in that time, it was late in the period of sheet music, like people would make a living as musicians selling sheet music, early in the recording industry. And for both those reasons, songwriters would come to John and ask if he would sing their songs. So this one guy, Charles Marshall, came to McCormack. He played all his songs. John, I want you to sing my songs. He played every one of them. John didn't like any of them. No. Guy says, well, I have this one new one I'm working on. And so Charles played it. John said, that's it. And it went on to be the biggest song of his career, the most requested song, his encore piece in almost every concert, and the name of his book that his wife wrote about him after he died. Yes, that's a thing. I don't know why wives write about their Irish tenors, but I've asked my wife to start writing the book about me. But she called the book, of course, after this song, I Hear You Calling Me.
I stand. Do you behold me listening here? Hearing your voice through all the years between. I hear you calling me.
So we handed out lyrics, and I noticed on the first song you didn't need them at all. I think that's probably more true with this one. But before we get to it, I want to thank you all for coming out today. So this is our first annual St. Patrick's Day concert. Let's make it a regular thing. And I look forward to being up in the main church when they're finished painting up there. Come for Easter, because it'll be freshly painted. And I want to thank Matthew. of course, the great St. Teresa of Avila Choir. So my lovely bride over here, my Irish Rose, she'll be hosting a little get-together downstairs right after the show. Come down and join us. We've got some cookies, some chocolate, some wine. Come on down. Now let's get those Irish eyes smiling. There's a tear in your eye, and a wondering why, for it never should be there at all. With such power in your smile, sure a stone you'd beguile, so there's never a teardrop should fall. When your sweet lilting laughter's like some fairy song, and your eyes twinkle bright as can be, you should laugh all the while, and all other times smile. So now smile a smile for me. When Irish eyes are smiling, sure it's like a morning tree. In the lilt of Irish laughter, you can hear the angels sing. When Irish eyes are happy, all the world seems bright and gay. And when Irish eyes are smiling, sure they steal your heart away. For your smile is a part of the love in your heart, and it makes even sunshine more bright. Like the linned sweet song, crooning all the day long, comes your laughter so tender and bright. For the springtime of life is the sweetest of all. There is ne'er a real care or regret. And while springtime is ours, throughout all of youth's hours, let us smile each chance we get. When Irish eyes are smiling, sure it's like a morning tree. In the lilt of Irish laughter, you can hear the angels sing. When Irish hearts are happy, all the world seems bright and gay. And when Irish eyes are smiling, sure they steal your heart away. See you all downstairs.